Well, for me, there is no excuse for bad behavior. I think students should respect one another, should respect me as a teacher, because I always feel, especially in my classroom, that there should be respect on all levels. So they should be treated the way they would want to be treated, and I feel the students should be treated with respect. So there's no reason for bad behavior unless they're respecting one another and myself.
Or why or why not?
The only pressure I might have to put on them is for them to be prepared for a performance. And I feel, in my opinion, it's a good kind of pressure because it gives them a sense of a goal. It gives them a sense of, when they reach that goal, accomplishment. So sometimes pressure can be a good thing if it's going towards something that's positive or something that's going to have a positive outcome. But I generally don't pressure my students because when it comes to learning how to sing or be a performer, those things come with time and it's personal development and individual outcomes. So if each one has a goal that they set for themselves, then you know, if they try to push themselves to do it, they'll do it. I do. Everybody seems to have a really good time when we're there, which is what I want. It's, again, you know, when the students are doing some kind of task in class, you know, it's good for them to be relaxed. Again, the more relaxed and the more comfortable they are, the better they perform. It depends if it's, you know, if it's something that is, you know, I usually try to put my ear to the ground with everything because it's my job to make sure that my students are safe, both mentally and physically. So if something's going on, if I hear something that might harm another student, then I'm going to definitely make sure I do something about it in reporting it or trying to, you know, make sure that the students are safe for the most part. But I don't encourage gossip. I don't think it has any positive benefit to any student or anybody in reality. And I try to encourage as much open-mindedness as possible amongst my students.
Do you guys feel safe in school?
Yes, we do feel safe in school.
Why?
Well, probably because we have a lot of security guards that are responsible, also teachers, and the security guards that check our IDs every day. So it makes it a little more safe so people can't get in that aren't supposed to be.
Awesome. Do you feel pressure to do well in school for others, such as parents, teachers, and your friends?
I would say it's a good pressure. Like they want you to do well, they're not trying to overwhelm you.
Basically, they encourage you to do much better.
Yeah.
Have you ever been pressured to do something you were uncomfortable with?
No, not really.
Do you think bullying is a problem at your school?
Yes, I do think it's a problem in our school because most people don't speak up. You usually see people get bullied and what do? Nothing. You know? Usually when you walk by and you see someone being picked on, you just either smirk, laugh, and then walk away and take it as a joke. But you don't know how that bullied victim is feeling on the inside.
Yeah, you don't know them. You don't know how it is at home for them, and
You don't know how they're taking it.
most people that look in from the outside think it's kind of a joke, I think. Like people who are watching people get bullied.
I think the majority of students feel comfortable the majority of the time. There are certain students who obviously have difficulties and are picked on or believe they're being picked on frequently, and those students clearly are not comfortable. Part of the mission of the school, however, is to make sure that 100% of our students are comfortable 100% of the time. If they're not comfortable, it's difficult to educate. Our deans do a very good job of mediating these types of things. You know, gossip and rumors has changed in the 39 years that I've been here. Gossip pretty much had to be done almost face to face when I first got here, or passed on paper notes between aisles in a classroom. Now with these wonderful social media like Twitter and Facebook and things like that, bullying can go on and gossiping goes on in a much more rapid-fire manner. Much more. I hate Facebook and I hate Twitter. I was just discussing with one of the teachers today the type of pressure that parents put on kids, and and that there are times that then comes back to the teacher. I have very high expectations for my child. My child usually does do reasonably well. My child didn't do all that well in your class, therefore it's your fault, Mr. or Mrs. Teacher. So that happens from time to time. It would be difficult to really generalize about parents or students in the building. And I'm certainly not in a position to evaluate people's parenting techniques. But there are times where some parents can be stage moms and stage dads and do put an awful lot of pressure on their kids. Zero tolerance for physical bullying. Typically, if there's a problem that a student deserves to be suspended for, the building principal can suspend for up to 5 days. Somebody could strangle somebody in the hallway, and the most the building principal can do is suspend them for 5 days. If we want to put a student out for longer than that, we have to go to a superintendent's hearing. It involves court reporters. It's a very, very legal process. And we do many of them a year, and typically they are related to either drug possession, weapon possession, or bullying. We just put a student out for an extended period of time, really till the end of the school year, because the student was being a bully. They both, I think emotional bullying is more of a problem in the sense that it's more difficult for us to detect and then therefore deal with. But certainly we view them both as, you can be scarred emotionally, probably for as long a time as you could be scarred if somebody cut you open. This scar is visible, the emotional one may not be, but you can be emotionally scarred by emotional bullying. I thought that one of our guidance counselors, Mrs. Leffler, did a very nice job of talking about that over the PA one day, where she talked about the fact that she was a victim of emotional bullying when she was young. The good news that she had for those who are victims of emotional bullying is that at some point it stops, you graduate and move on, and that it actually does heal up quite nicely. And obviously in her situation, she's moved herself into a very successful career and has 2 wonderful children, a nice family, and she wanted everybody to know there is some solace in the fact that this is not going to go on forever. You don't see anywhere near the extent of that type of bullying taking place on college campuses. I wouldn't say there's no bullying on college campuses, but certainly it's much more prevalent, I think, at the high school level, and probably even more at the middle school level.
I feel that even if you try to avoid feeling pressured, you do end up feeling pressure just by seeing how everything is around you. I think that society does put pressure on teens. If you look on any kind of, or mostly TV shows or anything, you see mostly the teen actors are teens or the models are young, and things are geared towards you. Yes, because you're brainwashed to thinking that your GPA is the same as your self-worth. Like, if you don't have a good grades, then you're not going to have a good future.
What would I expect from a teen in my classroom? Basically, I try to treat them like adults. I don't try to talk down upon them, so I expect them to behave like adults. Occasionally, high school is basically growing years for a lot of students, so they have to learn how to be adults. So I do have some leniency as far as that, their behavior. But yes, basically, you know, they want to be treated with respect. They should be behaving like adults. I don't think my class pressures teens. Maybe freshmen coming in 9th graders feel intimidated by the older students. The great thing about my class is you got 4 grades all together, 9 through 12. So you've got freshmen that actually become friends with seniors, which is kind of nice. But I guess the pressure might be there to, you know, worry about how they would
Stop it.
gossiping. I don't tolerate it. We don't gossip in band. So I try to take care of it and talk to the students with each other and things like that. I don't want to bring it into other hands of people that, you know, deans or things like that. So we try to, we're like a family here, so we try to keep, you know,
comfortable. I'd like to think many students are comfortable, except for when it gets really hot and they wish we had air conditioning. Well, I mean, we would like, ideally, for students to come down and let us know that there is gossip taking place about them, or if there is some type of bullying happening, and then the more they can keep us posted on it, the more we can work it out. The more we can blame a security guard or we can blame a camera saw something or a teacher. We don't have to turn a kid into a snitch, but we'd like to get some background information so we know what's happening, because we can't read people's minds. And then once we have that, I think we can move forward with trying to talk to the people involved and blame someone else for seeing it, so no one feels like a snitch. And then hopefully the problem goes away, usually after a good conversation, and try to get people to understand that bullying or harassment can really mess with a person's life. And you don't know what else they have going on in their life that this would just add on top of. I don't know. I mean, personally, I grew up in a troubled household, and so I'm going to think that either or could be equally as bad. I mean, a person's experiences are their experiences, and your perspective gives you your reality. So I think a person, whatever they grew up in, if it was a troubled home, whether it was physically troubling or emotionally troubling, it was troubling. And so a person only knows trouble based upon trouble. And so it's hard to compare. I mean, both are terrible. Both could hurt a person. Both could lead a person to do negative things and engage in negative behaviors and or even hurt themselves. So even, I mean, everybody has a perspective, but if you felt harmed, you felt harmed. I can't tell you how you feel or should feel. I'm going to find that probably varies from school district to school district. I think in various school districts, the desire for success is placed strongly upon a child. Usually the more successful the parent is, the more successful they want their child to be. And so in a middle class and lower community such as North Babylon, I'm going to think that a lot of our parents aren't, let's say, overly successful. So that overly successful drive doesn't always push off onto our students. I'm going to say the students in the most higher end classes from honors to AP are going to probably feel the most stress and pressure from parents. And that's why they also show some of the greatest results. At the same time, kids who are underperforming, there's probably going to be a little less stress placed from parents upon those kids.